Call the city council meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Angeli,
Present.
Vining,
Here.
Germaini, Lamore,
Here.
Felder, Whitman,
Here.
Mayor Clark.
Here, I'll ask we all please rise for the invocation. Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Guide our working together, give us wisdom to make the right decisions, your understanding to listen to each other, and your compassion to promote the peace and welfare of the residents of this community.
Pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, first item, please.
The first item would be any amendments to the agenda that are necessary.
Council or administration have any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none. Next item, please.
The next item would be citizen comments not related to an agenda item.
Thank you. Any comments from those present here this evening not related to an agenda item? Any comments from the public to be made? Seeing none. Next item, please.
The next item is public hearing, item number 1948, public hearing to receive and review comments on the proposed capital improvements program budget for fiscal years 2018 through 2024. And there are no comments on file in the clerk treasurer's office.
Thank you. So at this time, open the public hearing regarding item 1948, the proposed capital improvements for fiscal year 2018-2024. Any comments from those present here this evening? Council? I'll close the public hearing. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is under council action, item number 1948, fiscal year 2018 through 2024 capital improvements program budget adoption.
Thank you. Councilman Lamore.
Your Honor, I recommend that we accept, place on file, and have the recommendation be carried out for item number 1948.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Lohr, supported by Councilman Angeli regarding item 1948 to accept the recommendation regarding the capital improvements program. Any comments from council? I know we've had work sessions and reviewed those and staff presentations on this, and the plan is available. Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Angeli,
Yes.
Vining,
Yes.
Germaini,
Yes.
Lamore,
Yes.
Felder,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is the consent agenda, and for item B, approval of payments, the amount should read $651,084.81, 651,084.81.
On the consent agenda, any items on the consent agenda that council wishes to have pulled for further discussion? Councilman Lamore.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to have item number 1956 and item number 1959 pulled for further discussion, please.
Other items on the consent agenda, council wishes to have pulled for further discussion? Seeing none, is there any items on the consent agenda those present here this evening wish to have pulled for further discussion? Any further items to be pulled from the consent agenda? Seeing none, a motion would be in order.
Your Honor, with the exception of those items pulled from the consent agenda, make a motion that the balance be accepted, placed on file, and the recommendations carried out.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Angeli, supported by Councilman Lamore. Items not pulled for further discussion be accepted, placed on file, recommendations carried out, and resolution adopted. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Angeli?
Yes.
Vining,
Yes.
Germaini, Lamore,
Yes.
Felder,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is item 1956, consideration to approve grant application Coastal Zone Management Program.
Thank you. Councilman Lamore.
Your Honor, I'd just like to have this pulled just to kind of give our public a little bit more information about what this is. This is a study, but there are some ramifications to it that need to be tackled very quickly, and that's why I kind of wanted to give our public a little bit more information about that.
Very good. Mr. Pastou, if you'd start, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, the grant application for this is, if you will, a follow-up from a similar grant that we had through the county for a waterway trail in Monroe County. And this would essentially expand upon that within the city of Monroe to look at some of the challenges that exist from a standpoint of portaging, particularly along the river basin. We all know that particularly as you get closer to the downtown area and a couple other locations, the difficulty with this. The study would evaluate what the alternatives would be to reduce, mitigate some of that portaging that goes and limits the recreation aspect of it, and certainly what the cost would be associated with that if we were to make look at those alternatives, and then what necessary permits would be required from the regulatory agency at the state that would be responsible for that permit. But it's certainly consistent with what the council talked a little bit about as far as using the river basin for its fullest recreational and economic potential. And so the other aspect of it is if the application is approved, the council gets another shot at it in the sense that the application or the grant agreement would have to come before you. I didn't mention, but I should, that we budgeted $40,000 for this, of which would be a 50/50 grant that we would have to contribute $20,000 if that was approved by the grant itself.
Thank you. And as the councilman asked, this is kind of a bit of a timeline on a grant application that comes out from the Department of Natural Resources. It's beginning March 5th, so it's a short time frame, but as was stated, it's a first step of the process to be able to get a grant possibly, and then make some decisions as we go down for the funding. The councilman, other questions?
No, there were no other questions.
Other questions or comments from the council members? Seeing none, the councilman, motion be in order.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I recommend that we accept, place on file, and the recommendation be carried out for item number 1956.
Support.
Okay, there's a motion by Councilman Moore, supported by Councilwoman Germaini on item 1956 to accept the recommendation. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Nico-Angeli?
Yes.
Vining?
Yes.
Germaini?
Yes.
Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Whitman?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. Clerk, next item, please.
Next item is item 1959, consideration to approve proposal to proceed to Phase 2 of the I-75 interchange study.
Thank you. Councilman Lamore.
Once again, I'm up here. I think it's inherently necessary to have that second bridge in this Phase 2 talks. I think without that second bridge being mentioned on the next phase, we leave a lot to be desired for those people on the north side of the river on Elm Avenue, especially in the future for planning and what other purposes they may have. So I think it's necessary that a discussion be had with MDOT to have that other bridge in there, not only for the access, but to financially for us as a city, because we don't want to have that burden taken upon by ourselves. We'd like to have that shared with MDOT, or given a good portion from MDOT to put into their consideration for building and helping construct that bridge itself.
So just a follow-up, I may ask Mr. Pastu to do with a little bit of background. We had a work session prior to tonight's council meeting. For those that may be watching and maybe did not catch the work session, there was a lot of detail about this proposal as we move along in the proceed to Phase 2. If you weren't able to watch, I'd ask that you may want to go back and do that. It's various options, which should give maybe some more clarity to Councilman Lamore's point about the Elm Street interchange at I-75 and the Front Street interchange. I know Mr. Pastuve has some comments. I know it's as this moves forward, maybe it'd be good to have those now.
Yeah, just part of, obviously, with the presentation earlier and the report that was submitted by OHM, working in consultation with stakeholder groups, we did look at some different modifications, significant modifications at the Front Street entrance, but the recommendation to consider eliminating the Elm entrance. And clearly, there is some concern and even The representatives from OHM obviously mentioned that part of MDOT's process is to look at what the impacts are on adjoining property owners that would be affected by such a closure. In our case here, with what we have tonight before the city council, is to do additional research from what was completed. In particular, since MDOT is very, very interested in pushing this project up on their schedule, but to do some analysis, further traffic analysis as to what would happen with the Elm Street Avenue closing, developing cost estimates associated with that, because clearly there is a benefit to MDOT with that, and then looking at some grant and funding alternatives along with meeting with MDOT to further share this information and assist us in, if you will, a negotiation with that. The one thing that's not contained in here is, the additional bridge crossing that was discussed. That may change the scope, and it may not. We may end up being able to come up with a cost estimate as to what something like that would look as part of the continuing evaluation. I'd have to chat with them about that, about putting that additional scope in there. I can't think that it would be too costly to do that, other than probably applying some metrics that they have with many of the bridge and road projects they've done to say this is roughly what you're looking at a cost. Bear in mind, this positions us for our negotiations with MDOT. So this element of the bridge, if we pursue that, will just be part of what the alternatives would be for us to consider. So I guess I would ask, proceed with the approval, and then I'll come back with you if we think it's going to be pretty sizable difference for that additional aspect of it.
So, Vince, just as a follow-up, the timeline on this, so people don't think that this is something that's happening next year. MDOT has a long process, but this actually benefits being involved now. It may shorten that time frame.
Well, there's definitely the interest in MDOT in moving this project up, as the OHM representatives indicated. But it's also very beneficial for us, because we've got other road projects, certainly with our Heritage Corridor Master Plan, and the Monroe Link gateway improvements that we've talked about. So these all kind of fit in together with that. But yeah, I think that them expressing interest in moving this up 2 or 3 years is significant. That doesn't happen very often, that they're willing to swap out another project and push ours up. So we want to strike while the iron's hot. So.
Councilman Lori, you had a follow-up?
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, I think that if we basically bring forward our imperativeness to have this additional bridge to them and show them that this could basically ease the way with the people that are there, the stakeholders on the north side of the river, this may give them a second thought as to how they may help us in funding.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the consideration and negotiation that we would have with them.
Got other comments or
Yeah,
questions?
Your Honor, I think, well, as we get into the second phase of the study, I would just ask the city manager that the council, as part of the second phase of the study, that the council be briefed periodically and not just at the very end of the study. Because I saw things in that alternative that were interesting, moving Front Street south. And I asked the question to the engineers, what about existing Front Street? And they said, well, that would, we put a gate up and leave that for the wastewater plant. To me, that was wrong answer. We have an opportunity with existing Front Street to take it out. That section from the wastewater plant all the way down to the marinas. We have an opportunity, if we had the bridge, that we have another non-motorized trail connection. We could take the area underneath where existing front is, turn that into more of a green space linear park, provide a greater buffer for the wastewater plant. So when you come off the interchange, you're not looking at a wastewater facility, you're looking maybe at a large buffer area. So there's a lot of things that need to be incorporated into that second phase, so MDOT doesn't lose sight that this is more than just building a ramp. This is building a gateway to the community.
Yep.
Okay? All right?
I agree. One of the components where it currently sits on Front Street, we see that trucks and others that just park underneath the bridge, and
Right.
it's become a process of where I won't say overnight parking, but there's parking and things that get left behind, and then it's debris, and it just is a management issue that MDOT's not managing and keeping to, I guess, our likeness of being clean, and opportunity to turn it into something different, then it won't be a place just to leave things behind.
There's a, Your Honor, if I may, one last comment. There's a unwritten policy at MDOT that they never really talk about publicly, but you do pick it up when you're in meetings, that their professional staff has been trained over the years, and they refer to this as managing your expectations. Okay? And my position with MDOT is we're going to manage their expectation. So we don't go in light, we go in heavy, and we show them all of the alternatives that we think are important to the community.
Well, I think that's, if I may,
Vince?
through the mayor, just, that's part of what this is to have.
Right.
So, yep.
Other questions or comments? Michelle, or Councilwoman?
I think, in piggybacking on both these gentlemen, that we would be doing a disservice to our city and future business along the river, along that Elm Avenue, if we did not negotiate for that bridge. We have to.
Very good. We'll have, I'm sure we'll get, as Councilman asks, and council members, we'll get updates as we move along. I think it is, we're in a process of moving on to phase 2, and I think we keep pushing it forward. We're gonna get some results and shorten that timeline to take care of what is really an unsafe intersection coming off the I-75 into our community, so, wonderful.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we accept, place on file the recommendation regarding item 1959, the consideration to approve proposal to proceed with Phase 2 of the I-75 interchange study.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Nicolai, supported by Councilman Lamore, and item 1959 be accepted, placed on file, and recommendation carried out. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Nicolangeli?
Yes.
Vining?
Yes.
Jermaine?
Yes.
Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Whitman?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes.
I have no further items, Your Honor.
With that, Councilman Nicolai.
Your Honor, I think a comment that I made, and I'm sure it'll be echoed by Councilperson Vining, is that it's kind of, it's been very interesting, and it's also kind of very exciting, the various projects that are starting to coalesce around the east side of the city relative to the interchange study, the labor park redevelopment by ALCC, the battlefield. There's just a variety of things going on that I think really will improve the quality of life for the residents on the east side of the city, and then also really start developing it as one of the major gateways into the community. So it's kind of fun to watch, see how this is all starting to come together. I do want to compliment the manager and the city administrative staff on linking these projects together, because they really do make a lot of sense. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Councilwoman Vining.
Your Honor, thank you. Yes, I agree with John. It is exciting to see the development. It also falls in line with our goals and objectives for redeveloping, revitalizing the Orchard East neighborhood. Hopefully, we'll see some housing coming up, and it's just great with the fire station coming. We didn't talk about it, but the opportunity zones, including the Maceo property. So, yeah, it's really exciting to see it being executed and coming to fruition. And I want to thank the staff for all their hard work as well, and the city manager. So that's all I have for now.
Very good.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Germaini.
I'm excited about all of that as well, but our city app that we're going to have on our phone is a win-win for everyone. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Lamore.
Yes, Your Honor. Many resident concerns regarding snow removal, recreation activities, plans for parks, and the condition of many of our residential streets have been brought to my attention via email or conversations I've had with them. I just want to let you know, I will continue to listen to your concerns and pass them along to city staff and the rest of city council. This is part of our task here as city council to represent you the residents of Monroe. I want to let you know that your voice does matter. And also, if you feel more strongly about something, please don't hesitate to bring your concern to one of our council meetings. I would be more than happy to present your concern for you or listen to you present it yourself. We welcome your opinions. That's pretty much it, Your Honor.
Good. Calder.
No comments this evening, Your Honor.
Councilwoman Whitman.
I have no comments this evening.
Okay, I just have a couple. As we look at our agenda moving forward as the city council, we have a special city council meeting next Monday, February 26th at 6 p.m. It's on the third floor, so it won't be in council chambers, but on the third floor conference room. I don't know, if we have any students here this evening? Yes, we have one student. Welcome. And which class are you in?
I'm a senior at Neighborhood Central.
Okay, and your class that you're in for being here is, or just your, just want to be here?
I think she wants to make some comments.
You want to make some comments?
Just one.
Okay, step up. I'll let you do it now.
Up here.
Sure, that'd be great.
Hello, everybody. Recently, there were future recreational plans that were released for our city, and I just have some slight concerns over some of the designs that would diminish some of the recreational uses in our city, particularly the tennis courts. So that's all I got.
Your name, please?
Mackenzie Lamore.
Thanks, Mackenzie. I didn't catch that at the beginning. Okay. Well, I always ask about students because we have students here sometimes for their political science class and that, and so today we get to hear from students about some of our parks and recreation and activities.
Your Honor,
Councilwoman?
if I may interrupt, speaking of the students, Dr. Sabo is going to be retiring.
Yes.
She was one of my favorite professors, and she always has a large group of students, so hopefully the students will still show up after goes on to relaxation.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll be carried through from the follow-up professor about getting students here, because I think it's a great opportunity for students to come here and speak and share their thoughts with the council, but also during their education. Thanks for mentioning that, Councilwoman. A couple just follow-up comments to Councilman Michelangelo and Councilwoman Vining. You know, we are doing a lot of projects, and I think about, and it doesn't happen overnight. I think back of the projects over the past council years and even before, some of the long-term, when you talk about street and infrastructure projects, and things you have to do first before you can really start doing some significant changes. But those are done and in place, and I think we still have a ways to go. We have the projects that were discussed here at the council meeting, but also for those that, again, that may not have watched the work session, you'll have an opportunity to learn about some of the discussion with that. Councilman Germaini talked about the new city app that we're working through and how it makes it more convenient and easier for the public to report their concerns when they see it. The download of the app is free. We're working toward getting that implemented. It's going to take a few weeks. We have to get some things put in place structurally for that, but it'll be implemented with the software currently within the city, which is going to be a plus and make things more streamlined for the residents and as a report, but also in the staff and their response for that. I had one other thing, but I don't see it. So I just remind everybody again, we have a special meeting coming up later this month. Clerk Treasurer Lavoy.
I just have two announcements. It appears that we are going to have a May election, so for anyone who may have moved or may never have registered, now would be the time to do it if you want to participate in that May election. And we'll have more details about the election coming up, but just wanted to give everyone a heads up. I think y'all know I really like to register voters because I think it's an important part of the process, so. The other piece of it is the tax piece, putting on my tax hat. The City of Monroe is continuing to collect property taxes for the City of Monroe through the end of February here in our office before they're turned over to the county. So if you weren't able to pay your taxes yet and you still would like to do that, you can come to City Hall and take care of that.
Your Honor.
Yes, Councilman.
Michelle, if somebody missed that deadline and they have to pay at the county, is there an administrative fee they have to?
There are additional fees.
Additional fees, so
yeah.
they have to be concerned about that.
Yes, there is already an additional fee due to missing the deadline here in February, and then there's an additional
Okay.
cost. So if you can, I would recommend if you can, please come into the city and we'll take care of it for you.
Great.
Your Honor.
Yes.
May I ask, what's the deadline for registering for the May election?
The May election, it would be around April 6th, 7th, something like that. I don't have the date. It's about 30 days before. So there's still time, but, and I believe it will be a school-related issue.
Councilwoman Vining had mentioned the Opportunity Zone nominations. It's an item that was on our agenda. It was passed on the consent agenda, and it talks about opportunities of some commercial locations and development opportunities of how the city can move forward. So this is a process of a resolution just to make the consideration of how we take advantage of the Federal Opportunity Zone program. It's a first step as well, and we'll see if we can get through the first cut and continue to move on. It's a great opportunity. Of all was talked about this evening, some properties that we could use the assistance on and hopefully develop them further. Mr. Pastu?
I have nothing, Your Honor.
Okay. Any comments from those present here this evening? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, we go to a closed session.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we go into closed session for the purpose of pending litigation and land acquisition.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Ecolange, supported by Councilman Lamore. It goes to closed executive session. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Ike Angeli?
Yes.
Vining?
Yes.
Germaine? Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Whitman?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes.